Are we on? Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, wow. What's up, people of the Leg Kick? All right, hold on. Not sponsored by Gatorade. We are
You've lost your job. That's it.
Hold on.
This is Michael Asiffo of the Leg Kick. Here today.
Wow. All right.
All over the parish, as they like to say. All over the parish right now.
All over the parish. What, is that a religious reference? Come on, bro.
It is religious. You're right.
We're a non-denominational podcast.
All over. Wait, no, we're not. We're a Christian podcast.
No, bro.
So
I was told we're non-denominational. That's what I was told.
That was my sell job to him, actually. Yeah.
He's like, look, man. I know you're a filthy atheist, but you can come on this podcast, okay? You know. And then slowly over time, he's been trying to sell me on Jesus Christ. I'm not sold. Not a big fan, but hey, what are you gonna do?
Have you heard of the good word, my friend?
He has risen.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, yeah, no.
Sorry, who's gonna do it? Rock, paper, scissors? Rock, paper, scissors?
All right, let's go.
All right.
You know what I hate when people get
the intro yet?
You know what I hate? You know what I hate when people go rock paper scissors and they beat you, and let's say I go 1, 2, 3, and they put their hand over it afterwards.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, don't freaking touch me. Like,
yeah, buddy. I know I lost. I understand the rules.
Do you have to?
You don't have to physically pretend your hand is a scissors.
Do you have to? Yeah, exactly. Do you have to? We're not in kindergarten. Do you have to envelop my hand with your sweaty palm, showing me rubbing your fluids on me while you show me that paper somehow beats rock? I never bought that anyways. So we are the Leg Kick Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming off of one of the most emotional weeks in fighting history that I can recall since the leg break of Anderson Silva. But
boy, that broke my heart, though.
Oh yeah. But I'm here in my Naruto rash guard, brought to you by Rise MMA, my sponsor. Just thought I'd give a little plug.
They're not my sponsor. Them. Oh wait, I swore.
Well, while we're at it, Mike, how about we get you to work? How about we get Mike to work?
That, Mike.
Hey, David, let's get him to work.
Stop! I have to edit.
Piss, cum, dicks. So, we are the Leg Kick Podcast. Over here with finally a nice camera and a half decent microphone lit up nicely. We have our foreign correspondent out in the brave city of Ottawa, Ontario. David, I'm pretty sure it's a Nigerian name. It's a Nigerian name. I'm pretty sure there's like a or something in there.
Oh,
hilarious. No, Stefano, you were onside. Always got to take it an extra step, but I don't blame you.
The flag is up. The flag is up.
No, the flag is up, but it's okay for everyone. I think it's, Stefano's wearing a super tight rash guard today, and it's probably just like choking him a little bit. So that's probably
choke
why.
Me, daddy.
Oh no!
You win. All right.
So that's a thing, and we're out of here with our crappy cameras that are out of focus. We're not well lit, but it's okay because what we lack in equipment, we bring you in the fights.
We really got to invest in a light kit.
Yeah, we got to get a light kit. We got to focus these cameras, but it's okay. Hey, guys. If you like the Leg Kick, comment, like, subscribe, tell a friend, do your thing, and we can bring you better content, right? We can bring you better content. We can bring you more content.
I will say if we get a light here, we're okay. Why are we having this?
Why are we having this conversation on air? Sorry, brave people of the Leg Kick. You come here for fights. So next, across from me, we have a man who needs some introduction because you probably have no clue who he is. We have, he's been on the run from authorities for about 10, 15 years now. There was an international campaign out to catch him, bring him to justice. It kind of fizzled out. It turned out the guy behind the movement was a bit of a weirdo, exposed himself in public. Nonetheless, we have Joseph Kony. Joseph.
For another podcast another time, I would like to talk about that because there's a lot of misconceptions about what he was actually doing. The guy who exposed himself.
Yeah, well,
it's actually a really sad story. He had a psychotic break.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Yeah. Well, of course, dude, you operate the LRA. Why are you trying to Why are you trying to bring shame upon the? You should be trying to bring shame upon the movement. They're trying to catch.
Sorry. They are all lies. They are all lies.
See, and finally, a god of MMA, a true bastion of objective sports broadcasting, and an overall
nailed it.
overall great human being. We have Jeremy Asiffo. Jeremy's not here, so I replaced him with a bag of McDonald's.
Also, for the record, I gotta say this.
And then there's myself, Cuff Champion, Cage Wars Champion. I don't care if the division's moved on. That's my title. No one took it from me. Anyways, we are the Leg Kick Podcast.
My boy is the new champion, so I gotta.
Did he beat me?
No, he didn't. But
Then he can shut his mouth.
oh, stop! I'm not here to escalate. You two are my brothers.
Yeah, I mean, if you want some.
You two are my brothers. We will not engage.
Hey, man. Until somebody comes to my house and takes that title from me, here I am.
All right.
So we are the Leg Thick Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, what a night of fights we had last night. Whew, what a main card. Should we go top to bottom?
Sure.
Yeah. Let's jump into it.
Top to
I thought
bottom.
it was actually a decent night of fights. I just think like the end was so, especially the last two fights were so.
Is it going to show like that live?
Yeah.
Why does it keep doing that?
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
David's camera did a weird
It keeps doing that.
Yeah, small
Yeah, we'll just keep it like that.
why not?
What's it doing? What's it doing?
It makes you
small.
smaller, but
Wow, we are the low budget podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
and it made you
Weird.
bigger. Look at
Okay.
that. Wow, that's interesting. All right. Anyway, whatever. We'll figure it out as we go.
We'll figure it out.
No,
All right, so, wow. All I gotta say, really quick, because I made some strong predictions about this one. I just want to say that I'm not completely wrong. Okay, I will eat my words in a second. I'll do it.
Oh.
Don't you worry.
Listen.
What I did say is, if Khabib's gonna win this, he's gonna have to walk through a little bit of punishment, which he did. Right? I did say this is going to be a battle of attrition, which in a way it was. In a way. Maybe not a battle over 5 rounds, but Khabib did break Gaethje eventually with his pressure. Not break him mentally, but walked him down. But what we didn't call was, oh my God, boys. Mr. Gaethje.
BJJ non-existent.
Yeah. And
Wait, hold on.
With all due respect to Justin Gaethje,
I mean that in the nicest way, of course.
yeah, it didn't look like, for years, it looked like BJJ was going to be kind of an afterthought in mixed martial arts. Not an afterthought, but not front and center in the same way that wrestling and striking had been. BJJ had been taking a bit of a back seat and having a really dangerous submission game. Wasn't necessarily the number one thing, but wow, my God. World class. Khabib's jiu-jitsu, absolutely world class, man.
Yeah, here's the thing. Khabib did everything he was supposed to do. Took him down, got to full mount, perfect transition into first armbar, and then the triangle choke at the end, which we'll get to.
Looks like he almost had it at the end of the first as well.
Yeah, he had that. He had again a French style armbar or a bicep cutter. Either way.
Shouts out to Don Magbu with the pelvis injury.
You are getting,
Huh?
you are getting into that. This guy calls us, right? He goes, hey.
After.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
At the end, we'll talk about Don Magbu's pelvis. It's a lie. It's a real, man hurt his pee-pee, and we'll talk about that after. But yeah, man, moved through Gaethje's guard as if it was butter. Usually, Khabib uses these submission attempts.
Not margarine.
Get that
Shut up, Michael.
fake plastic garbage margarine out of here. Give me some real butter. Yeah, a lot of the time he'll use the submission attempts. Like I was watching the Barboza fight, he slid in a rear naked choke, literally just to advance position, just as a threat to get Barboza to take his back off the cage and slide his back onto the mat and advance position. But it seemed here that those first order submission attacks and guard passes just worked like butter. Like Khabib genuinely didn't have to attempt the submissions in order to set up the strikes and the passes. The submissions and the passes just kind of came. He was just able to slide effortlessly with that knee cut straight into full mount, and from there, it was the end. I will say, I guess because I saw it in one of his M1 Global fights, where he'll do the armbar, and for whatever reason, he won't throw the leg over the head, which is typically a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll jump over and then try and get the leg over the head, but he did the exact same
goes
thing.
belly down though. That's the thing. So
I know,
can see the idea of like,
but he fell to his back from there. But he fell to his back, and you're not supposed to do that. And he did the same thing in an M1 Global fight I saw, and set up the same triangle. With that, because he knows, I guess, they're going to come into his guard and he'll set up the triangle, which is nice. I guess that's what he was intending for, though, because it ended up, putting Gaethje to sleep, and the setup worked beautifully.
Jason Herzog,
yeah.
Do you want to get to that?
Usually a very good referee.
Wait. Let's not wait. There's so many levels or layers to this. I think, first of all, what was Justin saying the entire week? I can't get in between that black, or in between those black lines. And he spent 3-4 minutes of that first round literally sprinting. I've never seen Justin Gaethje run as much as I did. And actually, I hate watching videos prepping, videos that are reviewing the fight before we do this. But Chael Sonnen was saying that's something that Justin Gaethje never does, because he's usually there ready to fight and kind of standing in the octagon. But this time, I guess he had a game plan, so fair enough. And it's Khabib, you can't really blame him.
Yeah.
But he was moving a lot. And it was working for the first 2 or 3 minutes, but he was gassed by the end of the first round.
Here's where things went wrong for him, where I really think, because you're right, he was more fleet of foot, as he was in the Ferguson fight. If you recall, it wasn't, I'm going to meet him in the middle and we're just going to trade like classic Gaethje. I'm going to roll, feel the shots off my guard, roll and counter. Ferguson fight, he was more willing to take a step back, set up some traps and some counters. And Gaethje is a very advanced striker in the sense that he has good timing on his counters, slips well, has a good eye for when to throw leg kicks and when not to, but his tools are not, I'm not going to say limited, but he uses a few tools very well. But it seemed like after a while, the pressure of Khabib was just frustrated him, and he made one big mistake that cost him the fight. He started sitting down on his shots a little too much. Mm-hmm. You got to be a little bit more fleet of foot. Because David, remember we said it before the podcast? We were both like, it's going to be difficult to time Khabib on the way in and bank on that as your method of defeating him. And it seemed like after a while, he's just screw this, sat down and started throwing himself off balance with that right hand, left hook counter, right?
Mm-hmm. And in fairness, sorry, go ahead. Sorry. No, David, please.
I was just going to say, not only, is it hard to time Khabib, but I feel like Khabib started to get his timing too, because he would throw the leg kick and instantly Khabib shooting for the takedown. So, I feel maybe, I don't know, I'd have to go back to see whether he was sitting down in the shots, but probably. But I do think that, he got a little bit slower in his movement and made it easier for Khabib to close that distance. And
let me illustrate it for you. Do you remember when Gaethje was swinging so hard that he was throwing himself off balance and squaring up his stance?
Yes.
Yeah, that's him sitting down in his shots.
But then again, I don't want to be too critical because, his leg kicks were turning Khabib 90 degrees.
Oh, those were great. Yeah, those were there for him. That was one aspect of his game that was working well.
But wasn't it his undoing, though, too, in a way, because he threw it a little, he didn't time it, he was a little off, and on both times, that's when Khabib got his takedowns.
Well, I agree, and here's the thing. There's a couple of things that I would have liked to see out of Gaethje more on the feet. There's some weapons that are used as hurting weapons, and there's some weapons that are used. They can hurt, but they're used as well to create a frame between you and your opponent. And I said that Gaethje needs some straight weapons to jam Khabib coming in, as well as footwork to stop him. Footwork's not going to be enough, and they just weren't there. I would have liked to have seen a nice body jab. Maybe he punched well to the body in the Ferguson fight. Straight shots to the body. Something to just stop Khabib.
Even the uppercut too. I thought the uppercut was going to be used a lot in this fight, and
the range wasn't there for it.
I guess, but the one time it was, he did well for it. So I just would have liked to see him fish for it a little more. I don't know where he could have done it. I'm gonna have to watch it again and again and be like, oh, there it is, right? Sorry, go ahead.
Sure. I'm very sorry. I do that a lot of interrupting. I was gonna say, do you know what's crazy is that I thought, going into this fight, we all thought Justin had the stand-up advantage, but kind of to Stefano's point, I think Khabib outboxed him or outfoxed him standing up yesterday because
a little bit,
when you would think the more educated, more experienced striker or advanced striker would use their jabs, start setting things up from the jab. I felt like Justin was trying to counter almost like exclusively.
Yes,
and
yeah, he wasn't getting to his
Khabib
offensive tools.
was the one landing the jab. You know what I mean? Like, it was weird to see.
I agree. I agree with that thoroughly. Yeah, Justin wasn't getting to his offensive tools, and Khabib, man, he's able to, for a couple of reasons, just be reckless on the feet because, you know, he's got more in the gas tank than you, generally speaking. And in a lot of cases, he's just that tough where he did eat a few very hard counters in those early rounds. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't seem to affect him that much.
But I also think that we got to really give credit to his defensive responsibility, too, because there was a couple of times where Justin throws that right overhand or that left hook, and there's Khabib pulling out of the way or ducking out of the way. Now, yeah, was it the most prettiest pulls and ducks? No.
Do you mean defensive responsibility, like charging halfway across the cage with a flying knee?
Okay, that was a bit of a mistake, but
I wouldn't say mistake. Hey, if it works, it's not. Even though it might not be responsible, if it works, it works.
Yeah, if it's effective, and look, that teep looked ugly. Let's be honest with each other, But you know what? There's a reason why he's got a 67% striking defense percentage, right? And you saw it on display there.
I think a part of that as well is that if you limit the amount of exchanges on the feet, it's easier to defend because a good striker is going to gather more and more data on you the longer they spend on the feet. It's like, okay, that was just like a little bit off. Let me recalculate and just adjust the timing or the positioning of my feet when I throw the next shot. But if you're limiting the exchanges on the feet, and the exchanges that do take place on the feet are just you panicking and trying to catch me with a counter, right? You're not going to be able to get into data gathering, data gathering mode. You're not going to get into that technical, methodical thinking. You're just like, I got to get this guy off me. And that's kind of what it started to look like in the later rounds. To David's point, he slowed down and he just started,
Yeah. Which is sad.
I mean, that's not. I just want to say that Justin has always, not to be a criticism, but that's kind of like why we like Justin, because he's willing to bite down on his mouthpiece and just swing and make it a brawl. And I guess, Khabib in a way wasn't scared of that brawl, but as I said, I was just surprised that Khabib had the advantage in the stand-up. I was surprised. I thought Justin did a good job of like circling until he didn't. I thought there was one nice move where Khabib, I think whether it was a teep or I'm not sure, but he literally like lunges in and Justin does like a spin move, and it was like a basketball move, basically spin move, and he's out of the cage.
That's called the pivot in striking, David.
Okay, basic pivot, but the speed he did it looked more like a basketball move than like a regular fighting move.
David, one would say a Dagestani basketball move.
David.
Hilarious.
Let's just no basketball.
Hilarious. Anyway, points. My point carries, but my thing
she won the first round.
Do you think Gaethje won the first round?
I think you could make that argument. I think he hit Khabib a couple of times very hard. I thought Khabib had very little success in the first round, except at the very end. And I thought maybe the tide's turning, but I think Gaethje won the majority of the round, whereas the last 20 or 30 seconds were very dominant.
I thought Khabib actually won a lot of the striking exchanges. I would have to go back and watch.
Yeah, Same here.
I thought Khabib won a lot of the fight, a lot of the striking exchanges. I would have given that first round to Khabib.
I thought Khabib actually looked really competent on the feet. Is that just like maybe?
I would say he looked competent. Yeah, he didn't look outclassed. And here's the thing. In a pure striking match, I don't think we're under any illusions who would win between Gaethje and Khabib. But that's the thing. It's not a pure striking match, and you've got that nuke in your back pocket.
So,
And that's what I wanted to say was that I feel like part of the reason Khabib's striking defense is so good is always because of the threat of the takedown. At any point, you might throw something kind of like, Justin did. Throw something that's been working for you throughout the round, and he just shoots it on takedown, closes that distance, and all of a sudden it's a different fight. And also, I just wanted to say that I actually thought Justin did a good job with his takedown defense in the beginning of the round when he wasn't tired, because Khabib was trying to do what he does to everybody, which is basically bully you to like the cage and like try to maul you. And Justin actually stuffed a couple of them and turned his hips. Like, he did a good job. But once the longer the striking went on, the longer he was running, the more Khabib was walking him down. And then when I think Khabib there was once Justin threw a leg kick, Khabib goes in for the takedown, and he still gets his stuff. So
Yeah, I remember that. He was able to limp leg out of it, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I feel like, I don't know. That's just, I thought he did a good job in a way that not a lot of people do in terms of stuffing Khabib's takedown, but it still wasn't enough.
David, you're correct. Because now that I remember it, there was one exchange where they got into grappling range in the first round, and Gaethje was able to disengage and get out.
There was a couple, actually. I remember there was one where Khabib gets over under, and he kind of, I don't know if we're talking about the same one, but he kind of got his arm limp, got out of there and pushed him off, and then kind of ran out to the right side, to the left side. And then there was one where he gets single leg and then limp leg, and that's the other one. So there was a couple.
How about that first takedown for Khabib though? Talk about perfect, man.
Yeah.
Talk about a perfect shot. Like, man, he's too good. Man.
So I wanted to ask you guys, since we've talked about the fight, and with Khabib retired now, a very emotional moment for everyone.
Leave the memories alone.
I don't even know that song, but okay, thank you. I feel like
it's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
I just want to point out that Mike's in charge of the switcher, so he started singing. Switch the camera over to himself.
It's really
and then just to get a couple of seconds of him there singing with the camera on him.
I have to. Yeah, I had to.
You arrogant prick.
Hey man, look.
He just wanted a couple of seconds of him singing some like 80s R&B.
Look, I gotta do it. Gotta do it. No.
Anyways, now back to the fights. Back to some that counts. So sorry. Fuck.
Oh, come on.
Oh, God damn it. Mike, I'm still.
Okay. At least you're keeping it in bunches, so it's not a hard edit.
So basically, about Khabib. Okay, all right, I'm done. Man. It's out of my system. Yeah. So.
Are you that Tourette's lady on Twitch nowadays? What's her name?
Anyways,
okay.
So I wanted you to, if we may, to assess Khabib's overall legacy, because there's a lot of GOAT talk, and because of how emotional the moment was, and I think for all of us as MMA fans, it was a big kind of bonding moment of like, this is a man who's climbed to the top of the mountain, and now he's suffered some great personal loss, and I don't know. It was a very humanizing moment, I think, for all of us. Now, I think a lot of us have kind of gotten swept up in that emotion and been like, yes, consensus GOAT of all time. I did yesterday. I'm like, GOAT of all time. But if we're having a serious analytical conversation, and I think there's only probably two other fighters in the running for the status of greatest of all time.
Not three? You wouldn't give Anderson Silva a conversation?
I think I think he's elite of the elite, but I think as far as number one GOAT, I wouldn't put him up there, and I'll tell you why.
Step below?
I think he's a step below George St. Pierre. I think his accomplishments are not as significant as George St. Pierre's, and I'll tell you why. George was able to do it in two divisions. George was able to go undefeated for the large portion of the latter part of his career. And the postscript to both of their careers have been, I think George also faced, a higher level of competition than Anderson Silva does, and I think that's unquestionable. Not that Anderson Silva's level of competition is anything to turn your nose up against. It's still substantial competition, but I think George St. Pierre was able to beat four generations of welterweights. Now, I think the three are Khabib, John Jones, and George St. Pierre. Guys, I'll let you have the floor. What do you think? Who in what order would you rank those three and why?
Oh, man. So before this fight, John Jones actually came out, and the headline says that John Jones is irked by Khabib calling for number one pound-for-pound status. I don't know. I think Khabib is right up there with any of those people that you mentioned. I would say it's tough, but because I'm not, I wasn't really here for much of GSP's reign, and I'm also not Canadian, which Canadians love GSP, which fair enough. But I would say maybe Jones, Khabib, GSP.
GSP third?
Yeah, that order. But that's in terms of their career, though. Like in terms of who's the best fighter that I've seen, probably John Jones, most well-rounded. But if it was who's the most dominant force, definitely Khabib.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I would say that why Khabib's in this conversation, because he didn't do it in 2 weight classes as George St. Pierre did. Although, that...
I mean, he
Neither did
only
John
had
Jones.
one fight.
Neither did John... No, he only had one fight, but that one fight was a title fight against a strong middleweight champion in Michael Bisping, and won decisively. But
I mean,
the reason why Khabib, I think, is
are we
still
overrating? Oh, you see, this is the problem. I hate doing this with Michael Bisping. I hate doing it because everyone does
Michael
it, and I
Bisping's
think
an excellent
he's a
fighter.
legend and a great fighter, and he's strong. But he had one defense against a guy who clearly should not have been in that title defense, and nearly lost that title.
I agree. That being said, I still think Michael Bisping is it's a
Legit
noteworthy
competition,
accomplishment.
yeah.
If you
Yeah,
can beat
legit competition.
Yeah, if you can beat Michael Bisping, you're in the few, right? The people that have beaten Michael Bisping are few and far between, and even.
But I
fewer.
definitely agree with Michael's point, though. It's not like Conor McGregor, who's just jumping divisions and beating whoever's there. I do think that was, and I love Michael Bisping, and I hate criticizing British people.
I hate
how these
doing
British
this with
fighters-
Bisping. I hate doing it because Bisping deserves.
but
he's a legend.
Let's leave the good name of Bisping out of this because it's
Okay, let's not
really
make it
really
Bisping.
just a
I
side
do think
point.
it's one fight in the division. Does
Agreed.
not make you a champ. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it would mean one thing if he'd cleaned down the middleweight as well, or even won a couple of fights and then won the championship.
Well, hold on. To that point, I mean, Conor McGregor had one title defense. Sorry, had 0 title
Yeah,
defenses.
which is why he's not considered in this discussion.
No, I think he's not considered in this discussion because he's taken a couple of losses, right? To Khabib and to Nate Diaz, and I think that while he's in the consideration of the elite, he's not in the consideration of GOAT, of these top 3. Like, we've got to be discriminating. Now, all I was going to say is that even though Khabib didn't do it in 2 divisions, I think lightweight is the strongest division at this time, the strongest division on earth.
Well, see, that's why
I'd go Khabib, George, and then John Jones third. Not that I don't think what John Jones is, because remember, this is the conversation of best of the best. These are the top 3. This is a category that not even Anderson Silva, Demetrius Johnson, or Henry Cejudo are worthy of in, and that's this is cream of the crop. I think John Jones needs to be third out of those 3 just because he had a few victories there at the end that were a little bit
chintzy.
Plus, he decisively lost to Matt Hamill. We can talk about that another time.
I was going to say so did Anderson Silva, but he's not part of this conversation.
No,
Sorry, go on.
he's a tier below. Not no disrespect.
See, this is the
But
problem.
then
is
also,
that-
GSP has a loss, like a couple losses on his record.
But that's
Holy
the
crap.
problem.
Here's the
GSP's
difference.
in his prime had a blip on the radar to Matt Serra in his prime.
Yeah,
now,
but- and
for Matt Hughes, I'll say he wasn't ready. I'll give him that one.
Here's
He
the
wasn't
difference. Here's why I think George St. Pierre's losses are a little bit different. He avenged both of them decisively. Matt Hughes he beat twice, and Matt Serra he came back and it wasn't even close.
Khabib doesn't have a loss to avenge. That's the difference.
I know that's why I put Khabib 1, George St. Pierre 2, John Jones 3.
Well, see, here's the thing: is that even despite
I'm just
the
arguing
fact
against
that,
nothing. Sorry.
right, even
Setting up a straw man, are we?
right, but see, here's the thing: is with me is that I actually had GSP above Khabib.
Did you?
Believe it or not. So, like, as much as I'm arguing against GSP, I actually have him above.
So what are your rankings? We have 3 different rankings.
See,
This is so funny.
I have Khabib 1. I have GSP 2. Sorry, I have GSP 1, Khabib 2, Jones 3, Silva 4.
Interesting. Wait,
And
I wouldn't put Silva above Henry Cejudo.
I would. I
No,
would.
come
I
on,
would.
man. Don't do that.
I would.
What do you
I
mean?
would.
Don't do that. A 2-division champ who has
Demetrius
one
Johnson
loss.
beats Henry Cejudo today.
Henry,
Like, nah.
right? Based on what evidence? Henry Cejudo beat Demetrius Johnson the last time they faced.
Barely. That was a really close fight.
I thought, I'll be honest,
I
I thought Demetrius Johnson won, and I thought the judges robbed him only because.
But
they wanted to get him out of there.
Yeah.
Hold on. If there's a
Right.
well, they wanted to get them out of there. Now you're speaking conspiratorially. The judges
I
are
know.
connected to the UFC overall.
But
I get it,
think
but,
about
like-
they didn't do a rematch. The first thing they do is they trade him to one FC, and he's never heard of again.
Yeah, but Demetrius
Look,
Johnson was on board with that. His
He's been
coach,
champion for what, 11 years?
dude, Demetrius
the
Johnson
first
was
time
on
he-
board with that. Demetrius Johnson felt he was maltreated by the UFC, and his coach Matt Hume is a co-owner of one FC. So
Agreed. It makes sense.
That was
I
Demetrius
agree.
Johnson's call as much as it was.
I hate to go into conspiracies. That's why I tried to bite my tongue before I got into this. But like, don't you find it a little weird that when he starts, he doesn't want to have a match against TJ Dillashaw because he's not convinced TJ Dillashaw will make weight. And by the way, by all accounts, it looked like without some help, TJ Dillashaw couldn't make 125. That
We're so far. Off the
I
track.
know,
This has
I
nothing
know,
to do with
I
anything.
know. But all I'm trying to say is, I thought Demetrius Johnson won that fight, and it's weird. It's weird to me that
I think it's weird, but I think this is until you have evidence of a conspiracy. It's kind of just.
I know that too.
You can't just
It's not
claim
a conspiracy for me. Stefano, it's not even a conspiracy thing. I just think that I didn't see enough evidence from Henry Cejudo to prove during that fight to prove that he's a significantly better fighter than Demetrius Johnson.
You don't have to prove that you're a significantly better fighter. You just have to win. That's it.
Yeah,
but
then I have to consider that when we're talking about legacy and whether you're better than Anderson Silva.
Well, I think Cejudo's up there. I think Cejudo is
Anderson
up there.
Silva lost twice to Chris Weidman, and the postscript to his career has not been very pretty.
At 39, 40, 41, and 42, like what?
Yeah,
why do we always do this with Anderson Silva, where it's like, if he's out of his prime, like what, he had to take 3 years in between, all of a sudden it doesn't matter anymore? At what point does somebody...
It counts. It absolutely counts.
It does count.
It
counts,
part of your career.
It
counts, but it shouldn't count to the point where he's below Henry Cejudo all of a sudden.
Then why haven't you mentioned Fedor yet if it doesn't count that much?
Because Fedor's above Henry Cejudo, in my opinion.
I don't think so. Henry Cejudo, two-division champ. Two-division champ, defeated some of the GOATs in Demetrius Johnson, Dominic Cruz, Marlon Moraes, whose accomplishments are overlooked because he was doing it in World Series of Fighting. All right, Joseph Benavidez.
I don't think that the Dominic Cruz that fought.
Dominic Cruz didn't fight for like 4 years.
Is like something, and no shots at Dominic Cruz, but I don't think like that's like even though it isn't impressive.
Context matters. That's all I'm saying.
Context matters, but if you want, I can start nitpicking Anderson Silva's resume as well. He beat Chris Lieben. His first world-class fighter. Okay, hold on.
He won the title when Chris Lieben was undefeated.
Hold on.
When Chris Lieben was undefeated.
Wait, hold on. I'm not done. He won the title against Rich Franklin,
who was only one loss at the time.
Hold on.
One loss at the time.
But are you really going to argue that Rich Franklin is a comparable level of competition to Dominic Cruz, Demetrius Johnson, Marlon Moraes, and Tito Dillashaw?
Okay, look.
Hold on. I ain't finished.
Hold on.
I'm not finished going through this resume.
At the time of that loss, Rich Franklin only lost one time.
Is he a comparable? Yes or no? Is he a comparable level of competition to Dominic Cruz?
Over the body of work, no, but at the time, this is the problem.
There we go then.
But here's the problem. Again, when we say context matters because he beat an undefeated Chris Lieben. Undefeated.
Chris Lieben?
Okay,
Chris, the crippler Lieben? No disrespect. He's not a world-class fighter.
Talk about this card.
Right,
yeah, let's move on. Let's move on.
All right. No, but sorry. Let me explain my listing and why. Because I have GSP 1 and I have Khabib 2. Now,
let's stick to these three, please.
Right, I have Khabib 2 and I have John Jones 3. The reason why GSPs, I think the double champ thing matters. I think not the double champ thing. Sorry, I don't think the double champ thing matters. But I think defending your belt multiple times and being the guy that a lot of people have their eye on and are training for matters. And Khabib only realistically has 3 title defenses. Now I can look past that for John Jones, because with John Jones he left the division a lot. There's the USADA stuff. Right, I think a bit of it does get tainted a little bit. With GSP, I can't look past it because GSP was in there defending his title multiple times, double-digit number of times. And so for me, I think that matters. Now, the thing about Khabib is he was doing it in possibly the greatest division of all time.
Yeah.
And that matters.
And here's where I can excuse that he only has 3 title defenses. It's like a Tony Ferguson or a Max Holloway situation when they're beating the best in the division before they get to the title because there's such a long contendership queue, that they have to get through. So they're beating people that in any other like these are worthy contenders. B, let's not forget the lightweight division was held up by that whole fiasco with Conor McGregor and the Floyd Mayweather situation.
No, I understand that, but I think the reason why it matters to me is because when you're a contender, right, there's other people that you can kind of look for if you're, you know what I'm saying? You don't always have to fight Khabib. And so because of that, no one's really game planning. People are game planning, right? They got their eye on you, but not like they would be game planning for, let's say, if you're the champion because you're the guy, right? I think there's a level to, hey, when you're the guy and you're on the top of the mountain, everyone's trying to get you, you still kind of send them back. And some of these GSP performances were dominant. Like John Fitch did not show up at all. And that's why
I think George St. Pierre has one of the. You could argue he has the strength of competition is there more so than for others. I guess you could argue for Khabib as well.
I think Khabib's strength of schedule was...
Look at this. It's Nick Diaz, not Nate. Nick Diaz, BJ Penn in his prime. Matt Hughes, regarded as the second best welterweight of all time. Johnny Hendricks. We've got
Jake Shields was up there.
And these are guys who, when you look those five at least, I could keep naming names like Thiago Alves, but at least for those five, their resumes hold up over time as contenders. I really think so. But John Jones, to your point, John Jones towards the end is having some very questionable victories.
Yeah. But his early career, Machida, Evans, Shogun,
that's strong.
It's like
strong.
Belfort, like it's a who's who of like light heavyweight stars.
BTC,
like, these are like
BTC too.
BTC,
yeah, he beat everyone.
Stage.
Like I mean, Gustafsson, like these are all really, really
DC.
good fighters.
Oh, it beat DC. I heard BTC. I'm like
no,
BTC.
BTC.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the thing. We're splitting hairs at this point because this is a conversation for who is the best of all time. The best.
Yeah.
What I will say though is what I do appreciate is I don't think there's been, I don't want to say he's limited, but like, man, Khabib has like one trick that just puts him levels, like leagues above everyone else. Everyone else has to kind of mix it up.
One area of the fight.
Yeah, not one trick. I shouldn't say it like that, but one like discipline that just like gives him like so much of an advantage. Yeah, it's crazy.
So, hey, let's move on to my boy Rob Whittaker because holy crap, man!
Wow,
what
Bobby Knuckles.
Bobby Knuckles, this to me was not close. There was some good leg kicking in the beginning by Cannonier, which I appreciated, but man, you can use a few tools very sophisticatedly. That double jab, first of all, that jab, and he established that early.
He went back to it.
Yeah, whenever Cannonier was trying to advance range, Bobby Knuckles would move, because this was southpaw orthodox, would move to the inside as opposed to the outside. And man, people always wax lyrical about the taking the outside angle on southpaw orthodox. Knuckles would concede that, go to the inside just to land that jab, and he was piecing him up with this. And then in the later rounds, he'd go double jab, step deep with the cross, and it was popping Cannonier. And once Cannonier made the read, he's throwing the cross now, that's when the high kick came up, because to slip the cross, right, just slip deep on the cross and get away from it, you put yourself in the path of the head kick, because I'm on camera, so I can show you guys visually. Slip the jab, slip the cross. You slip deep, the leg comes from the same side, and you're dicking.
Oh, you can slip there, bud.
You're a little bit dipping straight into the shin, boom, right across her head, and that's what happened. And man, I thought it could have been stopped when Cannonier face planted, but Whittaker made the mistake of, allowing Cannonier to guard him up and get some space instead of standing over him and pounding or doing the Mark Hunt thing and walking away. But man, Mike.
Yeah, no, I made the whole point of if we're going to see the Whittaker that just blitzes in, Cannonier can time him. And what we saw here is that Cannonier makes excellent reads. He does. He
very
really
much
does.
so.
He
loves
really
crystals
does.
too.
Math or
Man.
Huh?
Is that math or just no?
No. Like he was before this fight. He was talking about how much he loved crystals and the energy that gave him, and like stuff like that, like that kind of wooey stuff.
He's a weird dude.
It's like, dude, what are you, a 40-year-old Karen? I don't get it. Like, this is supposed to be like live, laugh, love, white lady type shit,
Oh man,
why you gotta swear again, man? But yeah, no. Even the stuff. Remember when he was gonna face Darren Till, and they were rumored to face each other, and then Darren Till accepts the fight after talking to his manager, making the rounds, doing his due diligence as he should as a fighter. He goes, "Oh, you accepted the fight, but you accepted it too late. I hurt my knee. It's all your fault." I was like, "What are you talking about, man? what are you talking about, bro?"
Weird.
Yeah, no. I think that would have been a really bad matchup for Darren Till, actually, because what I saw from this fight, and I 100% agree with what Stefano said in terms of tough matchup, man. But Robert Whittaker was way, way better. But Jared Cannonier is no joke, man. Like,
wait, Jared what? Jared what?
Jared Cannonier. Cannonier. Jared Cannonier.
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 He's going to speak to the manager.
I thought he did a good job in terms of, as he said, his leg kicks, his counters.
He makes excellent reads. He makes excellent reads. That's the thing.
He was, in spite of the fact that Bobby Knuckles was mixing up the timing of his strikes, and like I said, fleet of foot, bouncing on the spot and forcing Cannonier to swing at air, Cannonier was still able to time some of his entrances, even though Bobby Knuckles was doing everything right.
But see, this is the thing, is that Whitaker was different this match, right? And what I was saying was, like, I said it, if we're going to see the Whitaker that's just blitzing in, kind of bouncing back and forth, kind of cutting off the cage and doing, and not necessarily, setting the table, we're going to see Cannonier time out, because Cannonier has excellent timing. And to his credit, he did have good timing, but we saw the Whitaker again that was stutter stepping, double jabbing, setting the table. That's an inside thing I tell all my students.
It makes sense,
you
though.
Set the table, right? Set the table. That's kind of the phrase I use.
With your fakes, your feints,
exactly.
Right? Mixing up your timing, and there was all of that in this fight. Did you think that Whitaker went to? I would have liked to have seen more of the that oblique kick that he does to kind of offset the timing of Cannonier. He didn't go to that as much as I thought he would. The oblique kick, the side kick to the knee.
I guess. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's tough to criticize the game plan unless you're in there. But I felt like what he was doing was pretty effective. The only thing that wasn't really working was I felt like Cannonier was getting him with those leg kicks, and they looked like they really hurt. Yeah. Again, he literally turned like 90 degrees on some of those leg kicks. Like they looked really painful. And I actually got flashbacks of, isn't Cannonier the same dude who fought Anderson Silva? And Anderson
That's
Silva,
right.
like,
exactly.
And I was like, wait. At
clearly
first I was like, oh, maybe Anderson Silva was injured, but no, I see why he lost that fight from a leg kick. Like,
yeah.
That was brutal.
And the other thing is that Robert Whitaker, through his stance, you're especially vulnerable to that outside leg kick.
Exactly.
Because not only is he very high and bouncy in his stance, so he's light on that leg.
He's super narrow.
He's super narrow. He's narrow in his stance. He's got the long karate type stance. He has a Kyokushin background. And if you notice, his foot is facing inwards.
Yeah.
Right? And that gives you an advantage if you're a jab-heavy fighter and being able to get in and out and land that jab. But if you do get hit by that outside leg kick, man, it's going to knock you out of your stance hard.
Yeah,
and it's going to
hurt. Also, sorry, go on.
No, that's it.
Yeah, I was going to say Robert Whitaker also puts his hands so darn low, man. First of all,
which advantages and disadvantages
for like a more sorry, go on.
Advantages and disadvantages, right? It's a stylistic choice.
Agreed, but like for certain fighters, that's not going to work because like they're going to time you when you blitz in, and they're going to get you.
Well, here's the thing.
I also wanted to just quickly. I wanted to say related to leg kicks. After the fight, Cannonier comes out and says that in the first leg kick that Whitaker landed, he broke his imula, his leg.
Oh, who broke their tibula? Cannonier broke his tibula.
Yeah. And basically that affected him for the rest of the fight. So I don't know if that's an excuse. Wait, his ulna, his left ulna. Whatever.
Ulna's in your arm.
Oh, okay, not his leg then.
Yeah, ulna's in your forearm. I believe. The radius and the ulna.
I know what you're talking about. Where Cannonier actually hurt his forearm.
Here's the thing. I don't think you can really use that as an excuse, because if someone throws a kick to your forearm and it breaks, that's the intended consequence of that kick, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Look, I mean. Here's the thing about Robert Whitaker is that like you can't critique a win in some ways. I always believe that, but like in some ways you can't. And I think we're kind of splitting hairs on like, hey, what kind of stabbing weapon should he have used, whether the jab or the oblique kick? Hey, should he have maybe not used the karate stance at all times to check the kick? You know why
I think we're doing it? Because it was good enough to beat Cannonier. Will it be good enough to beat Adesanya?
And that's the thing, right?
But Cannonier is the cream of the division, right? So like I don't want. That's why I'm like, I'm on the same page as everyone. I don't want to be too critical because he won, but at the same time,
and look good too.
And look great.
He looked really good. And I don't see another fighter in that division who beats him, if I'm being
Who beats
honest.
Robert Whitaker?
Maybe.
Yeah, man, I don't think I can be beat by anyone in this division. I want to
Talk
fight.
about the Christmas tree.
This is what I do. This is what I
Maybe
fight.
like a Uriah Hall or something like that. Somebody who's like unpredictable.
Uriah Hall?
Yeah.
Whitaker's already beaten Uriah Hall.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Decisively.
Oh,
fair enough. I gotta go back then. Never mind.
I mean, in my head, I think he starches him, but yeah, no, I didn't
You
remember.
think Uriah Hall starches Whitaker?
No, Whitaker starches Uriah.
Yeah,
Hall.
Uriah Hall beat him.
Matchup.
Sorry, Whitaker beat him decisively.
No,
It was
I don't remember that fight happening. That's why I was shocked.
It was
yeah,
not
no.
super memorable, but basically what Whitaker did was Uriah Hall went for a spin, and every time he did that, he's like, all right, now I've got your back. And he just took his back and beat him up from the clinch.
But yeah, no, I that's an interesting angle about that Israel Adesanya fight, because that's the thing, right? Like, if you're Israel Adesanya is going to hit the outside leg kick a lot, you know. Israel Adesanya is look, it's not the greatest head movement in the world, but it's good enough that he's going to be able to make reads and counter with something hard.
I think if Whitaker's going to beat Adesanya, he's going to have to be judicious. He's going to have to limit the exchanges, set the table, as you said, but also mix in the wrestling and try his best to get Izzy outside of that warning track, closer to the cage, and just limit those exchanges, man. He was too nervous and blitzed far too many times in their first matchup against Adesanya. He's not going to be able to outstrike Adesanya, but in an MMA fight where there's wrestling, where there's clinch work, who knows?
I agree. I was going to say, against most of the division, I think he's got a striking advantage apart from against Adesanya. I think Adesanya is just as quick, just as fleet as foot, probably has better defense.
Yep.
And better offense,
yep,
striking-wise. So I agree with Stefano. He's going to have to mix it up, limit the exchange. Basically what you said, because if he tries to make it a brawl, which Adesanya usually doesn't even let it might look like a brawl, but realistically, he's still timing you. If he tries to do that, then he's going to lose.
Yeah, man.
But I think
I can do it, though. I think I can do it. You know, I got the tools. I got the tools to beat Israel Adesanya. I'm not going to talk any trash, but I think I can do it.
He didn't even call Adesanya out, so I'm not even sure that fight's happening. I think we're just all assuming. We wanted Jared Cannonier to win.
I mean, let's be honest. It's going to happen.
Here's what I do with the division. Let's go Izzy Whitaker next, and then we'll have Cannonier versus Till.
Till's fighting Hermanson, though.
He is. Interesting.
Okay. Although you see, again, I don't know what it is. I really like Jack Hermanson's chances against Izzy. I don't know what it is about Jack Hermanson.
You might be crazy.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Like, he's growing on me. Jack Hermanson is growing on me.
But he'd have to get it to the floor, because stand up, he's getting knocked out.
Of course.
Jack Spermanson. Anyways, what was next?
Next fight, the Volkov fight.
Yeah, Volkov. Let me just say right away, like, this has no bearing on the fight itself, but Volkov looked like he's really paying attention to his strength and conditioning.
How about his back tattoo, man?
Yeah, that was nice. I didn't mind that. I didn't mind a little bit of Japanese artwork.
But yeah, no.
Man, that was crazy. What really surprised me about this, I mean, there wasn't anything super duper surprising. I mean, we all knew Volkov could, like, strike, especially, like, kickboxing was really good. But Will Harris, man, like, tough loss.
Couldn't get to the inside, man. And it's funny that a guy at 6'5". Here's why I'm understandable about the fact that he struggles to get to the inside. I was telling Mike before the podcast, he never has to. He's a 6'5" guy, and he was dwarfed height-wise by Volkov. And Volkov is you're used to being the taller man as but
it's not
his name is Walt Harris. Well, here's the thing. We saw the two examples of, on this card, how to fight as the taller man, how to not fight as the taller man between Struve and Volkov. You fight, man. You keep awareness of where you are in the cage, you fight behind your long weapons, and patient, don't overcommit, fight behind your long weapons, certainly don't back yourself onto the cage
like
every 10 seconds.
Does every 10 seconds. Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, certainly don't, I don't know.
Step in, knee with your hands down.
Yeah. So, I mean, man, I love that stabbing front kick. I don't know about you guys.
I've been using it. I've been using it more often. I'm a believer in it. I love it.
I love it.
That rear teep into the solar plex.
Not a teep.
It's also one of those mean, nasty gem moves. Like, at least for me, maybe because I'm a noob and don't know how to control power, but I feel like I'm just like snapping it, and everyone's just like, "Whoa, take it easy."
It sucks, it's a great move. Dude. It lands, and you're just like, "Oh, why do I do this? I should have signed up for swimming lessons. It sucks."
I'm a believer in it. I love it. Like I've been using it a lot lately. and to great effect.
Yeah, and usually when you see it, which was remarkable about this, usually you see it as an attritive weapon where think of
water in the basement.
Water in the basement. Think about McGregor versus Mendez. McGregor used that kick to great effect in that fight. Over the distance to slowly get Mendez to drop his hands, slow down his movements. The shots started coming a little slower, and then he was able to time that left cross and put him away, right? It's rare that you'll see this kick as the finishing move, but it'll happen, right? It'll happen. It's just, oh man, the expression on Walt Harris's face said it all.
Dude, you see, it was so bad. It looked like it was a low blow at first, and I remember the broadcast was like, "Hold on a second," and then they looked and they're like, "Never mind, good call."
Yeah, never mind. It just freaking hurts a lot.
Yeah,
poor guy.
I feel flashbacks of the fight last week, where I can't remember who it was.
Oh, Kayla Chagayan and Jessica Andrade where Kayla Chagayan got hit to the body. She was like, "Absolutely not.
No, leave me alone, please."
I have half a mind to just give this podcast an E rating. Like at this point, just like not even bother.
But my question is, where does Walt Harris go from here? Because he's clearly talented, but clearly, he's not part of that top echelon of the division. So,
dude, it's heavyweight, man. Here's what in any other division, if this was like lightweight, I'd be like
soul search.
Maybe reconsider your options, but. Dude, this is heavyweight. You're always 1 or 2 wins away from a title shot, especially because the cream of the crop of the division is getting old. DC's on his way out. Stipe is not going to be in here too much.
DC's out already.
That's what I said. DC's out. Stipe is not long for this world.
Yeah.
And then we've got
Francis is older than you think, by the way.
Francis is older than you think.
Yeah.
So we've got a newer crop of talent cycling in this heavyweight division. But who knows? He could go the route of John Blachowicz.
Right,
but the problem is. Sorry, David. Go ahead. I'll say.
Sorry, I was just going to say to you guys' point. I'm talking a lot, but you got Lewis, Overeem, Junior Dos Santos. Like all those guys are well over 30. Well,
so, mid-30s. Yeah. But see, this is why I disagree with you, though, Stefano, is because you take a look at this division, and there are a lot of technical advancements that a lot of guys have made at the top, right? Look, Derek Lewis aside, and even Derek Lewis can get better, which is weird saying that about a guy who's 35. But
I don't think he can. I don't think he's committed to it. But go on.
But let's say he does, though, right? And then all of a sudden, Jesus Christ, right? And
well, if your aunt had balls, she'd be your uncle. But go on.
Right. But you got Stipe, who looked really impressive against DC. You got Francis Ngannou, who Jairzinho Rosenstruck fight aside was making strides, right, and knocking a lot of guys out.
Speaking of which, did you see that video of Francis Ngannou training with Teddy Atlas?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Teddy Atlas was giving him some tips, and they were going. Okay. Look, I would like to see Francis Ngannou more so with like Cale Sanderson or somebody, like work the wrestling, but whatever. Okay, but Francis has made strides. He has made strides, and he looks like he's ready for the moment to at least be more technical against Stipe in a rematch. Jairzinho Rosenstruck is still an experienced kickboxer. Looked really good against JDS. JDS looked as good as I've ever seen him against Jairzinho Rosenstruck. Alexei Olenek, he's kind of done for this world, but he's still a dangerous guy on the ground.
Where does Cyril Gahn fit into all this?
And that's the thing. And then you got Cyril Gahn, who has in my opinion, the full package. And then Tanner Boser. Tanner Boser.
Are we talking about an all-Canadian top 10? Let's get it.
Right.
Or at least top 2.
Right. Well, Cyril Gahn's technically okay.
We're claiming him.
Okay.
He's ours now.
I mean, he was the TKO world champ for a while.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. But you have guys who actually. They're not. It's no longer, and I hate to do this. No longer are you getting the Ben Rothwells and one-dimensional guys. You got guys who have at least visibly, like when you see it, visibly have technical advancements in their game. Where
it seems like we're getting a bit of a new era on the division.
Right. These guys are growing, and so for Walt Harris, no longer are you going to be able to cross your feet anymore and think you're going to get away with that. Right? No longer are you going to gasso after the first 90 seconds and get away with that. You're going to have to make some adjustments. You're going to have to go in the gym and transform yourself.
I think that's fair.
And that's
fair, though. Just quickly, for this fight, Walt looked in great shape. I know a lot of people talked about that before the fight, but he did go to the gym, and he lost like 30 pounds for this for this fight.
Sorry,
or
I gotta
something
stop
like
you
that.
there.
So,
Stefano, stop fiddling or something. I don't know.
Fidgeting?
Yeah.
I don't have a fiddle on me. I'm not fiddling. I'm not Nero.
hilarious.
Although I wish I was
no, he
Nero
lost like,
Caesar.
what, 30 pounds or something for this fight. So I don't know. I just think it's kind of like he was overmatched, honestly, and
Yeah.
he's not technically
It seemed like that.
good enough.
Yeah. And
You should have mixed it up.
And
You
to-
should have
and
mixed
to-
it up. You
and
should
to
have
his-
gone for a takedown.
To his credit, like I said, like it's not for a 6'5" man. It's got to be unsettling to all of a sudden be the smaller man, and fight in a completely different way in which you're not accustomed to. Like that's not his A game, you know. 6'5", you're used to keeping everybody and their sister out on the outside.
Yeah, no, but I completely forgot. Volkov is in this division. Blades is in this division.
Yeah,
like. It's weird to say it, but Greg Hardy could give people problems.
That's where I'm gonna have to cut you off.
All right, fair enough. But like
Hard Greggy, really? Ed Hardy, aka Hard Greggy.
No, look, maybe that's a step too far. But my whole point is,
the only one he's beating is his wife.
Oh, jeez.
Which he did.
Which he did,
allegedly.
He admitted to it.
Allegedly.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
He was. You see, this is the thing I always say: is he was found guilty in court, so that's good enough for me.
Yeah, if he was found guilty in court, why are we saying allegedly? We're not going to get sued.
Because he appealed. Because he appealed. Yeah, he appealed, and then the charge got dropped. So technically speaking,
David, you are the farthest thing from a feminist, my friend. Anyways,
no, but okay,
I want you to be a hashtag ally to women, David. Condemn him as he is as a woman beater.
Right? No, but hold on. Let me just say this though. Like Greg Hardy aside, fine, step too far. But the whole point I'm trying to make is there are a lot of guys in this division. So it's not like, hey, a couple more wins and you're back in there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good technical fighters in this division.
It's starting to look that way. Yeah. It's no longer the least deep division in the UFC.
Yeah, just on that note, did you guys know that Curtis Blades is fighting Derek Lewis?
Yes.
Like months?
Why?
Yes.
Why? What a stupid fight. I don't want to see that. It's either that fight is either going to be Derek Lewis managing to
pull off an upset.
Yeah, stupidly
like
punch
he
him.
always does.
Yeah, it's either going to throw some more shade on this very legitimate contender, or Curtis Blades is going to grind him out. And it's like there's
it's gonna beat Curtis Blades grinding him out.
I said that about I thought Volkov was gonna beat Lewis decisively, which he did for the most part until he didn't, and that's what a Derek Lewis fight is all about.
Yeah. Even Travis Brown had success, and then all of a sudden,
just midway through, he's just like, okay, I don't like this. I'm going to knock you out now. My balls is hot. And then he just knocks you out.
Wonderful human being, though, by the way.
He was rescuing people from the hurricane in Texas when it happened, and personally in his car.
Yeah. So, but look, but this is my thing, is that if he makes a commitment to just a technical advancement.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Dude doesn't even know how to use
We shouldn't even talk about it.
He's not even looking. Mike, how many fights into his career, and he's not even looking for an underhook and half guard? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Like, come on, man.
It's sad because already he's it's weird, but somehow he's managed to find his way into a top 5 position in this division, and it's
because that's his game, though. Like, I mean, I feel like it's easy to be like, you should work on this clear flaw in your game, but human beings don't work that way, right? Like,
I know.
You have a flaw. Some people.
Yeah.
They lean into their strengths rather than trying to work on their flaws, and that's more effective than them.
If my balls was as hot as his, maybe I'd understand. But
hilarious. Okay, do you guys want to talk about this Malkoun knockout, or I guess it's really a Phil Haas knockout?
Yeah, not much to say about that other than Phil Haas able to time the counter right over the top and blitz this gentleman.
Stefano.
Huh?
Does he remind you of Michael at all? Or
physically or stylistically?
Yeah,
not
physically.
stylistically.
Not stylistically. He's more of a wrestler than Michael, but just like physically.
Well, let's pull up his picture. Let's see, Mike. Can you?
All right, give me a second. Let me.
Usually Joseph Kony more reminds me of Mike, but
I don't want to be reminded of a guy who mutilates children. The worst of the worst.
Yeah, Mike. Why did you do that?
Okay, stop.
Allegedly.
Well, yeah, why did you allegedly do that? Now we're giving the allegedly pass to Joseph Kony in case he sues the podcast. Emerges from the Congolese jungles to sue the leg kick.
Man. Let's see. Okay, so
Yeah.
we have Phil Haas's picture.
We can continue. I can just talk while you guys are looking them up. I thought like Phil Haas looked really good.
I don't think he looks like Mike.
18 seconds, not much to say.
So
there,
I'm pulling up his picture. Sorry, guys, you're gonna see this little like weird screen for a little bit. All right, here's his picture. Let's see if we can get like a full image.
Like body-wise or face-wise, David?
Body-wise, not facial.
Oh, let's see. Okay, let's see his body. I'll look at his...
Body-wise, when I saw him come out, I was like, oh, okay, so this is like, what Michael would look like.
Yeah, Mike's jacked. Mike's jacked.
I am in terrible shape. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, I can see that.
Man.
He's got those big Michael Asiffo pecs.
Yeah, man, he looks. I don't want to say like a gorilla, but like, man, he looks.
Well, you said it, not
intimidating out there.
You said it, not me. So
what way does he? Should he be fighting Joaquin Buckley? Like, what's going on?
He could be.
He could be. They're in the same division.
Look, here's where I feel very. Phil Haas is a bit of a feel-good story for me, a feel-good story, because
here's a close-up.
Here's a close-up. Good-looking dude. Because to my knowledge, and you can confirm this or and look it up if you want, I think he was on the contender series twice and the Ultimate Fighter once, and it didn't work out for him. And then he came on a third time and just absolutely got his man out of there. Just another very, very impressive knockout. And here he is now in the UFC on the main card of what was supposed to be the biggest card of the year. A couple fights fell off. So normally he would have been a prelim fight, but now he's on the main card, and he got to shine. He showed off his knockout power. The fight didn't go the distance, so we didn't get to see too much of him. But here's a guy who had every opportunity to quit and fall off, and didn't, and just kept going for it. So let's see here. What?
Yeah. Well, you see, that's the thing is, I didn't want to cut you off and let you go, but like,
lost twice on the contender series.
Yeah,
on the Ultimate Fighter.
I was going to show this. Is that so? You're going to see the screen again. Sorry, people, if you saw that little like weird screen in the beginning, but. He loses at the World Series of Fighting by guillotine choke. Goes on the Contender Series and loses again. There's more. I think there's like another Contender Series.
It's not, pull up Topology because they'll have him on the Ultimate Fighter as well. I knew he was on the Ultimate Fighter. Sure Dog doesn't show that.
Yeah, so let me go on Topology here. Topology, by the way, one of the best websites in. If you want to go for MMA,
I could beat up a crackhead in the parking lot and it'll be in Topology.
Yeah. So
there it is. Loss on the Ultimate Fighter to Andrew Sanchez.
Yeah. So loss in an exhibition belt in the Ultimate Fighter. He loses on the World Series of Fighting. Loses on the Contender Series, right? And then all of a sudden goes on a run of first round knockouts, right? Boom, boom. Oh wait, first round finishes. Boom, 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 boom. Right?
Boom,
so
boom, boom. The guy. Oh yeah, and the guy he beat was impressive AKA product actually on the most recent Contender Series. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, Best of Iev.
Yeah.
Best of
very
Iev.
tall gentleman.
Yeah. So this is a gentleman who has, figured it out. And here's the thing about mixed martial arts is the C word and the M word matter a lot.
What?
Confidence and momentum. You don't
That's not what I was about to say.
don't
doesn't mean any C or M words at all.
Wait, which swear words begin with M?
Cock and movies.
Cock and movies? Cock and movies?
This podcast is brought to you by
Cock and movies.
Yeah. Get yours while they last. No,
Cock and movies. Pull down your pants and, watch a movie.
This is brought to you by Cock and Movies. Netflix. Are you still watching? But yeah, no. Look. Confidence and momentum matter a lot, and when you get that one big knockout, there are some guys who fall a little too in love with a certain weapon, and they look for it without realizing what got them to the dance in the first place and what set that up for them in the first place. And then there's some guys who understand what happened and repeat that success with their same weapons over and over and over.
And even the greats are vulnerable to that. Like Fedor Emelianenko, if you'll recall, in his later career, got away from the wrestling and became a one-note fighter who kept just trying to time the overhand over the top, right? Stopped kicking as much, so fell in love with his hands a little bit too much when it was the overall accumulation of stuff that was bringing the knockouts. But to your point, Phil Haas. Sorry, David, I interrupted.
Yeah. No, I was going to say Phil Haas is, if I'm not mistaken, he is a D1 wrestler. So he's actually more of a wrestler than a striker. And it was interesting to Michael's point, actually. he actually did the reverse in that he became more of a striker in order to get this shot on the UFC because he won by knockout. But the question is if he's going to be another, what's his name, Tyron Woodley. Or we see this all the time with strikers who just fall in love with that overhand right and abandon their wrestling, offensive wrestling as a game plan.
Especially because the overhand for wrestlers works particularly well when paired with the double leg. When it's just the overhand by itself, it's ceases to be as much of a threat. But yeah.
I would say no, though, because it wasn't just he used his footwork to pressure him up against the cage.
Oh, as far as Haas?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that. I just meant in general because, David was talking about
strikers. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I thought.
I just say, it would be good, if he doesn't fall in love with that overhand right and he becomes more... uses his D1 wrestling is what I'm thinking.
Which, like he did, he did in his previous fight, which was against that Russian gentleman. So that was nice. But anything else we want to talk about, guys? Any other fights?
Shout out Lauren Murphy, man.
No, we're not doing this.
No. We are talking about this. Because this woman, Shakirova, was talking so much trash.
Really what she's saying.
She said, Lauren Murphy is slow. She's old. I don't respect her skills. I'm going to show her, blah, blah, blah. Lauren Murphy, 37 years of age, with a 19-year-old son or something, came out and put on the show. Shouts out to Lauren Murphy, man.
I wouldn't say show. I wouldn't say show. That's a little much. I was talking. So me and Jimmy were at this. This is how much we didn't care about this fight, by the way. And no disrespect.
I have a similar story going though.
And no disrespect to Lauren Murphy, but we're doing a fight companion, watching this fight, and Jimmy brings up Cardi B, and we went on a 10-minute rant about Cardi B and the double standards of Cardi B to, let's say, another
the irony of that happening during a female MMA fight. It's just too much to bear right now.
Right. It's great. It was crazy how much we didn't care about this fight.
Well, what I want to know, everyone's talking about the situation with Cardi B. What I want to know is where the heck is Cardi A?
Which
would also imply the existence. It would also imply the existence of a Cardi C. And
that is such a not even a white guy joke, an old white guy joke too, like a dad joke, like a 45-year-old joke. Shame on you. And then he makes it like a professor joke too.
Hilarious.
Like, that implies no.
Hilarious. Shouts out to Professor Frank, man.
No algebra jokes here, man. Don't sound that.
So, anyways, how about since we're moving on from
I don't want to move on particularly just yet because because I do want to good win. She did come out after the press conference where she said, she should be 1 or 2 because the rankings are kind of and I agree with her. The problem with saying that about Lauren Murphy is the only reason why you're on a 4-fight winning streak is you haven't beat anyone of significance. I took a look at her record and it's like
kind of pooey.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? She lost to Chikanian and
Chikagian, you mean?
Chikagian.
Who's Chikanian? Is there someone else?
Sorry, Chikagian.
Caitlin Chikagian?
Chikagian? All right, sorry. My bad.
I honestly thought you were talking about a different fighter, but go on.
My bad. No, my bad. And she's lost to a lot of women who are right now at the top, right? And granted,
hey, hold on. She has 4 losses. She's 14-4-0. So who are these lots of women?
She's 5-4.
And 4 losses are Sarah McMahon,
exactly,
Liz Carmouche,
exactly,
Caitlin Chikagian, and Nico Montano.
Exactly. So, Nico Montano, really? And you want to talk about being 1 or 2 in the rankings?
That was 3 years ago, though.
Okay, my friend, she's 5-4 in the UFC. All of her losses are in the UFC. So it's not like that 14-4 is a little
argument here. Her last 3 wins are over this Shakirova, forget that, Roxanne Modafferi, and Andrea Lee. If any of those 2 women won, they would have gotten the title shot. So why doesn't she deserve a title shot?
I'm kind of on the side of Gnarls Barkley on this when I say who cares. We're talking about this make-believe division with, amateur regional level.
Hold on. Did you call Charles Barkley Gnarls Barkley?
Gnarls Barkley, the singer, dude, who made the song "Who Cares."
Oh, okay.
Mike thought he was gonna pull one over on me.
No, I was like,
Mike was all excited. He was all excited to
Danger Mouse and what's that guy's name? CeeLo Green.
But who cares?
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like she's done a decent job, and she should get the next shot. But realistically, this is a lineup who's gonna get knocked out by Shevchenko.
Exactly. First of all,
So who cares?
yeah. First of all, and second of all, no, because Jessica Andrade just beat the number one contender in the division. Jennifer Maia beat the girl who was gonna get the title shot, and Lauren Murphy's not gonna. Lauren Murphy does. No, what were we talking?
Hilarious, man. Shouts out to Lauren Murphy. Anyways, Magomed Ankalaev versus Jan Kuntolaba. I'm surprised.
You just really wanted to move on, eh?
Yes.
All right, my bad, David. We can't have this conversation about Lauren Murphy.
Come on.
Neither of you guys
Women can't get no love.
They can.
It's a patriarchy.
Hey, if it was Valentina versus, versus Jessica Panay, no, it was Valentina versus Amanda, we'd be having a nice conversation. Because you know what I like about fighting? I like technical skill. That's what I like. It's like I don't have to sit here and pretend like I'm interested in Lauren Murphy with her basic ass striking.
Oh my lord!
I like talent, whether it's male or female. I like talent in fighting. You know, that's why I like Jorina Barge.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah.
I will say that the other girl, for talking so much smack, gassed herself out in like a round. So that was good for me to learn as a person who's never stepped in the ring how to not fight on your debut.
That'll be good for David's debut. He will have me and Mike in his corner.
I will travel. I will travel.
Her thought process was good because she was like, "I'm gonna move. I'm the younger fighter. I'm the more fleet of foot." It was kind of like the Gaethje thing.
How
but
did you loop me back into this?
Because we
How
can.
did you guys loop me back into this fight?
Because
we
can.
Hilarious, man. Hilarious. Shouts out to Lauren Murphy. Anyways. I'm surprised that Jan Kuntolaba versus Ankalaev fight. I'm surprised someone didn't slip on a banana peel on the way to the ring and it got canceled again. Jesus. Man, this was how I expected it to go more or less. It was a blowout.
Yeah.
It was a blowout. And same thing with the Southpaw versus Orthodox matchup, because this was another great Southpaw versus Orthodox matchup. And an excellent example of how you don't always have to relentlessly, for you young fighters out there, relentlessly pursue the outside angle. And what Ankalaev did, he was just slowly fading backwards to the open side. So where open side, just for those of you that
All right,
don't know.
stand up, take your mic off, come on.
So we got I'm Southpaw here, right? I'll go Orthodox. Orthodox, this is the open side, right? Kicking into it, your body kick is into the open side. Close side here, I can just turn and it hits my back, right? Open side, the path is there for the cross, right? And for the body kick. So instead of moving towards, to move his foot past to the outside to set up the outside angle, my boy Ankalaev was going to the inside, right, to lure out the weapons of Kuntolaba.
And he would fade, but he's not just stepping to the inside. He's fading just outside range.
Yeah, so that Kuntolaba's just going to miss on that hook, and that's how the initial cross came a little bit differently. He just stopped, right? He stopped moving. Kuntolaba overcommitted, and then that cross came, and that was how the first drop came. The second one, Kuntolaba just was a little bit out of range, got impatient, and threw that right hook hard, and just ended up in southpaw. And then from there, it was a lead right hook. That started the combination. Yeah, lead right overhand, we'll call it.
Yeah, it was like a hook overhand mix.
And that started off the combination, followed by a left hand, and just shut the lights out, man. Just completely unconscious. No one's done to that to Kuntolaba in my
inside a round.
Inside a round. Just shut down his offense completely.
Yeah, I thought you timed him really well. I actually thought Kuntolaba did a decent job in the beginning of the round.
He didn't land a strike.
Pardon?
He didn't land a strike. What are you talking about?
Okay, I got to go back and look at it, but I thought he did a decent job in terms of it looked pretty even, pretty much up until he got knocked out, if I'm being honest. I didn't think, I know that Ankalaev is supposed to be the more proficient striker, but I thought it looked fairly even. And then, he just caught him, not necessarily flukish, but what I did like is that he was moving, and then he caught him with as you said, the overhand right, and then, or I guess for me, it looked like a right hook, and then the straight left. And then, just super clean ground and pound finish. So not really much to talk about there. we all felt like Ankalaev was gonna win anyway.
Yeah, I didn't see this going any different. I will say though, look, if you are facing, this is the thing about when you are facing somebody who's opposite-handed, so left to right, right to left, and the outside foot's what everyone talks about all the time, and we've waxed poetic about it. Mm-hmm. You do have to remember though to cut somebody off. And Ankalaev had an embarrassment of riches in terms of space.
Yeah, he was given the cage to work with, and I think as well, Kuntalaba, man, he just looked one note. He looked very basic. He looked like, as a striker, as a sophisticated striker, you're supposed to be throwing little distractions and feints out there, misdirections as well, just throwing to different targets. But it was so clear that all he wanted was to swing hard over the top with that right hook to catch Ankalaev, right? Mm-hmm. Wasn't kicking very much to the legs, wasn't misdirecting. His jab was non-existent. It's just like, this is what I'm going to do, let's go, And Ankalaev was much more sophisticated, baiting out that right hand and countering it.
Yeah, and look, I get it that like everyone wants to hit behind the knee nowadays and everyone wants to hit the calf, but the inside leg kick to the thigh is just fine, ladies and gentlemen.
Agreed, yeah. Beautiful weapon.
Just fine. Just throw it. It's not a bad thing to kick the thighs anymore. I get it. Someone can catch it and then the wrestling happens. But, you don't always have to throw outside knee, right? Or calf. Sometimes an inside calf kick or an inside thigh kick or an inside knee kick right at that part of your thigh, your knee. You know what I'm talking about? Like right here.
Yeah.
Where the PCL is a bit.
It's damaging.
Right? It works.
It may not have a dramatic effect right away like the calf does, but it works.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? And here's the thing that it does is that it gets someone to lower their hands. It gets someone to stop in space. It slows down movement. And
squares up their stance.
Yeah, and I have a feeling, I'm not there with Ion Kutalaba and know his camp or was there for 4 weeks, but I have a feeling the reason why he didn't throw too many kicks there was because it wasn't the back of the knee or the calf or that calf muscle on the outside that a lot of guys like throwing to, right? And if that's the case, why not throw why not throw a lead kick there then, right? But
yeah,
not enough weapons. That's all I'm going to say.
Not enough weapons. Mix it up. Better luck next time. The final one I kind of wanted to talk about was on the undercard. What's that Spanish lad's name? Spanish gentleman who fought on the undercard. Fought the Russian combat sambo master of sport. Mike, you want
Oliveira versus...
No, Mike. Oh, the Oliveira fight was great. That was great as well.
But, okay, hold on. Let me get the card for you.
It's Alvarez versus Yakovlev?
Yes, yeah. Alvarez, phenomenal, man. After submitting Joe Duffy, one of the great unheralded prospects on the sport, he submits this combat sambo master of sport with an armbar. So that guy's got a very interesting guard, man. And the prospect who beat, I forget his name, but the Kazakh gentleman who beat Alex Oliveira. Mm-hmm. Wow, what a force of nature, because beating Alex Oliveira is no small feat, and he looked excellent as well.
That was another guy who was talking a lot of trash.
Who, Oliveira?
Not Oliveira, the Kazakh.
The Kazakh gentleman, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, hey man, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna basically, I'm paraphrasing, but he said I'm gonna go in there and dominate, and
he did.
He did. So look, confidence is. Hey, confidence is a real thing, man.
Confidence in movies, man.
Right? Youth exuberance. Man, where is this podcast?
Did any of you guys watch the Casey Kenny fight? Apparently, that was a good one.
That was a banger. I had a lot of fun with that fight. Who won? Because I think I missed the decision.
Casey Kenny won.
Casey Kenny won? I thought that was justified, yeah. I thought it was a fun fight.
I didn't watch it.
Great, good, solid Muay Thai fight. Love the counter kicks. Those are becoming more of a thing in MMA. Letting someone miss on a low kick and then throwing a low kick of your own when their leg lands. Great Muay Thai.
Retracting the leg and then...
Yeah, and then throwing your own. That was good. I kind of wanted to talk about this hilarious fight I saw on Fight Pass the other day, but it can wait.
Okay. I think we have a story about a broken pelvis, or...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait. Before anything, though, we do have an ask question, and we have time for it. So
what time is it now? What time did we start? How long are we in?
We're an hour and 18 minutes in.
Okay. So. All right, let's get through this then.
All right. So, ask question. It's actually very pertinent. Someone asked, do they think, because retirement in MMA is fleeting, right? And they
this is a real ask question?
Real ask question.
All right.
Real ask question.
Like,
right?
did you write it down or?
I have it if you guys want.
Yeah,
but
pull it up. Let's not paraphrase.
Pull it up. Yeah, this guy's doing it like by memory.
No,
Before we know, it's like 3 different questions.
Okay. Give me a second. All right. So, question is, what's going to get Khabib to face GSP? I was going to give some context to it, but okay.
All right, give us the context.
The context is that Khabib obviously retired, and everyone thought that the last fight for Khabib's career was going to be Khabib versus GSP to get to 30-0, but it looks like that's not going to happen. Or at least Khabib has decided to retire, and they're trying to figure out what's going to get this done. Like, what's going to happen?
To be honest, a part of me feels like I honestly don't want to push for it because, number one, as a Canadian, I'm a big Georgie fan. He's one of the only fighters that when he steps in the cage, I get nervous. Like, I get those, like, I feel like
stomach.
Yeah.
Butterflies in the stomach.
I feel like I get that feeling. Yeah, I get that feeling like I'm 13 years old and I'm cheering for the Leafs again and they're in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, I get nervous, but like on a whole different level because he's, how can you not love him? And he's the representative of our country.
Hero.
He's straight up. He's my hero. And I don't want to see him get back in there, man. I don't. I think what he's been able to accomplish is great. And as much as I love seeing him compete, he's 40-something years old, 40 years old, around there.
I think he's 40, 41.
Khabib
looks good, though, for 41, though.
Looks good, but there's looking good, and then there's being able to compete at the highest level of the sport, right?
Randy Couture could compete at 40-something.
Different era.
Different era.
A different era, different division.
Cormier, kind of.
I mean, even a more recent example, well, in between those two is Henderson was relatively competitive in his older age.
I guess so. George has taken some time off, though. He hasn't had the strength of he hasn't had the depth of schedule. I guess it's just, man. I don't want
the damage.
I don't want to see the man lose. I think he's had a perfect career towards the end.
Yeah,
and
that's my thing.
What's going to take? Yeah, what's going to take it for them to fight? Probably enough money. The other reason why I don't want to see it is because that very emotional post-fight speech that Khabib gave.
That's what I was going to say, is that if any time I believe this is the last fight for somebody, this is the time.
Yeah, this is a storybook ending for Khabib's career. Let's call it.
I think just even comparing George St. Pierre and Khabib, they both have storybook careers. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
And that's kind of the reason why I wouldn't want to see it again, because this is a sport that the legends are often stay in the sport for way too long, and it becomes
looking at you.
It becomes a BJ Penn, you have to retire kind of thing. Here you have two of the greatest fighters of all time who decided to leave on their own note. I mean, why blemish that record? For me, other than for money. I get it, but
Well, for me,
I actually had this thought today, is, like, I know the answer is definitely Conor McGregor, but is Khabib as popular as Conor McGregor right now? Because
not North America, but I've heard internationally Khabib's very popular.
Yeah, man.
Because he's captured the imagination of a lot of the Islamic world.
I mean, you're seeing the Islam revolution and the Islamic or revolution in a lot of MMA nowadays.
The Islamic revolution, what is this, Iran in the 70s?
No, but like you're seeing.
Jeez.
Really?
I know.
Are we gonna try and execute the Shah, Michael?
No, but okay.
Nationalize
the 1600s in Africa. Like, what's going on?
Listen, David. Let's execute the Shah and nationalize Iranian oil. Okay.
Yeah, really.
Okay. Guys, you get the point I'm trying to make, though. Is a lot of guys from the Muslim world are coming in, right? And this is their hero. This is the guy, right?
Yeah, from the Middle East and Central Asia more generally, let's say.
Yeah.
We're having good prospects. Brave is doing a good job of scouting a lot of these prospects in the Middle East and Central Asia, two very distinct and different regions of the world, by the way, in case you guys don't know.
Yes.
But
we understand.
But even there's a lot of, I don't want to say parallels, but even from a Muslim perspective, Nigeria is a half Muslim country. He's huge. Khabib is huge in Nigeria. All the Nigerians I know who Khabib is, as well as Adesanya. So, I don't know. I feel like...
Is Kamaru as popular?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. I'll have to look. I'll have to ask around. I've only spoken about Adesanya. I've never asked about Usman.
I know amongst the black audience, at least the Canadian black audience, Adesanya is huge.
And here, yeah, that's the thing. I know this is a bit of a tangent on our part. As much as we want people to appreciate the sport, not for, surface factors like this person's from this country or this person is from this religion, we want them to appreciate the technical sophistication. At the same time, there's no denying that people want to see someone like them or from the same walk of life as them, and that's powerful. I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say George St. Pierre wasn't the reason I got into the sport, right? Or one of the main reasons.
Canadian, right?
Him and Shoney Carter. But I'm dead serious. And Carl Parisian, those three. But yeah, man. So there's no denying that, Khabib and the story of Khabib, it's a powerful one. And he's captivated a lot of people's imaginations. Let's call it here. Money's gonna be the thing that decides.
Neither of them have anything to prove. You know what I mean? Like, even if they win, like, it's more. And another thing I really appreciate about Khabib is that it's not about him. He's one of the few stars that's like not really egocentric, if that makes any sense. So it doesn't make sense. I mean, it does, but like, I don't know.
God, give me everything. He says, God, give me everything.
Exactly. It would be fitting if he just ended it here and was like, you guys debate who's the best, as opposed to be like, I have to fight the best to be.
Yeah,
he's a deeply principled man, right? You may not agree with his principles, right, in all aspects, but he's a deeply principled man. And when he says, I'm stepping away from the sport, I believe him. He's made enough money, and I don't think he's going to be swayed by a little bit more. Because I think.
But this is the one that his father wanted, though, right? And that's why.
Oh, the George one?
The George one's the one that, like, a lot of people have made it reference to this. Habib has said it on camera. He's on record to say that his father always wanted him to fight GSP.
Interesting.
Right? And so that's why it's like, that's why I'm like, if any matchup for Habib to come back, it's the GSP one where I'm like, look, again, I still think this is one of the few retirements where I'm like, this is like the legitimate, like, this guy set, he means it and it's going to happen. But if any fight where he's going to come back is, if GSP is working out and he has a six-pack and he's looking good, you know what I'm saying? Like, physically, he's looking
aesthetic.
Right?
I like his haircut, too, now.
And all of a sudden, if GSP's hitting the bag or something and GSP looks good, I think the juices get flowing in Habib's mind. I think he starts thinking, and I don't want to bring up Abdul Manap's name like this. Like, I want to treat it with respect, but this is, again, the one where he said he'd like to see. And I think this is the one where, I think this is the one where he would come back for if the things are right.
You better if Dana, you better throw the bank at these two if it happens, because like, win or lose, I want to see these guys rich beyond belief as a result of this.
Right. And here's the thing too, is that like
for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I feel like he's not going to do it, because like, he's not going to want money for the rest of his life. Like, his brand is big enough to carry him. So. Yeah. Right.
Well, see, this is the other thing, is that like, I don't think this is two guys who look terrible in the fight, like in the cage. I wouldn't want to see them at
it has to be soon, though.
Hypothetically, Michael. Go on, David. You first. Because
it has to be soon, because if it's in 2 years and GSP is like 45 or something like that, and these guys are like not at their prime, like, would we have the same appetite? Like,
no, I don't know. That's the thing, right? Like, if it's gonna happen, it has to happen like max a year time. But for the record, I'm with you guys. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Like, these are the reasons why I think if it does happen, it happens.
But let's say it does happen, and I am done. Listen, I am done making definitive predictions about Khabib fights. I am done. I'm done picking people to beat him. You're not going to see me do it. The most I will say is that both of them have very interesting tools that I would like to see match up against each other. I think Khabib has the potential to shut down the offense of George, which George was at his best when he could mix up his game, right? He could take you down and he could strike with you and he'd keep you guessing between which of the two he was going to do. He also has straight weapons, which could potentially offset the pressure of Khabib. But at the same time, I have heard that Khabib is just a different level of strength and grappling.
That's what
I have heard that as well about George St. Pierre as well, though. Yeah.
I've heard George St. Pierre is the strongest person someone's ever faced.
Chael Sonnen said that George St. Pierre is the strongest human being he's ever tied up with.
But Justin Gaethje, even after this fight, well, wow, we sound crazy right now, but Justin Gaethje was like, that's the one thing that surprised him, was Khabib was so strong on the ground, which is crazy to say that because everybody says that, but it just goes to show that it must be some different kind of strength.
Think about this. These are professional fighters that have spent a lifetime in combat sports, from wrestling people at the highest level to fighting other combat athletes that are at the peak of the UFC, and even they're saying this is something I've never felt before.
Yeah,
that is another level of strength. That is a level up.
Yeah. So, look, I don't think it would be Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. if they were to face, even though they're both in retirement. I don't think it's that at all. I think it's actually like two guys who would be relatively like on a peak level, even though GSP's has a 4 in the beginning of his age. Or is at least in his very late 30s.
No, if it's a 4 at this point.
Yeah, I think it's a 4. But I do think, if any of the two guys I think say it's done, I think it's these guys. I think it's done.
So let's bring up Don the Pelvis Magbu a bit. Our friend and training partner, someone who's come on the podcast before.
Slept me in an arm triangle choke? That happened.
Put him to sleep. This is called Osteitis pubis that Donnie has. It's a condition in which there's inflammation in the blah, blah, blah. Basically, Donnie hurt his wiener. I'm not going to read you the scientific explanation. Too much thrusting, okay? Whether it's in butterfly guard, okay? Or whether it's in the bedroom.
Look at David's face. I want everyone to see David's face right now.
Yeah, man, Don Magbu's been doing a little bit too much thrusting, okay? Don, come on, bro, stop thrusting. He's got a disease named after him. Don's like, hey, guys, you know, usually a disease will have a scientific name, and then it'll have another name, like tennis elbow. There's no name for... Okay, Don, you got a disease so rare, we're going to name it after you, okay? This is called...
The Don Magbu disease?
The Don Dick. He's got Don Dick.
We're not doing it. We are not...
Don Dick.
We are not calling it.
Yeah, you are.
We are
you
not.
better...
We are not calling that.
So, Don, rest up, get better, feel better, bro. I need my best training partner back. Okay. I feel like that Sarah McLachlan song they play in all the SPCA commercials we playing.
In the arms
of the angels.
Look at David roll his eyes. He is so done with this.
David's like,
man, Stefano, leave the singing to Michael and Jeremy.
David's like hilarious. Shouts out to Sarah McLachlan, man. David would be
Shouts out to Sarah
fan.
McLachlan. Shouts out to Jennifer Warren.
Shouts out to Elizabeth Warren.
Man. Wait. Do
shouts out to Kamala Harris.
Man, shouts out to AOC, bro. Shouts out to AOC.
Wait.
My girl.
Wait. Can you do
RPG?
Huh?
Ruth
Bader Ginsburg?
Yeah.
Man, shouts out to Candace Owens, man.
Why not?
Nah, I hate Candace Owens.
Why not?
Get out of here with that. Okay, what were you going to say?
Do the arms of the angel, and I'm gonna sign up the podcast. Come on. Go
ahead. The arms of the
God.
Remember when you guys were talking about production quality?
Yeah.
It gives us charm. It gives us charm. Okay, Mike, go on. Do it.
All right.
Third attempt. You ready?
All right, go ahead.
3, 2, 1, go. In the arms of
just remember, everybody, even though it's been a rough year, you got 3 things. You got life, you got family, and you got this podcast. Take it easy, everybody.
Actually funny.
All right, everybody stay safe, everybody.
Hey, hold on. One more thing before we go. Guys, we love doing this for you. Help us do it. We're not asking for money yet, but we may come to your house and shake you down. I swear to God, I will steal everything in your mother's jewelry cabinet. I'll do it. But there's one way you can avoid home break-ins, which are on the rise lately since COVID. Comment, subscribe, like, and tell a friend. If you have a friend that likes MMA and they like sophisticated, intelligent conversation and not just Brendan Schaub saying gadoosh every 15 seconds, tell them to subscribe to the Late Kick Podcast.
I'm going to hold that for way longer. Hold it. Oh, my. Oh.
Sorry.
Answer that.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hey, peace out.
Happy trails.